Okay, today is a story about bumper bars. So these bars are custom made, and you can see here I've been putting a repair job in on this one because I had to take a little slice out just to bring that end down to match, so it's the same as that end. Now these are painted bars and they will remain painted. I'm not going to chrome them because it's a lengthy, expensive process and the metalwork is nowhere near good enough. You see they look pretty good. So they're sprayed in a just a straight tint of silver, a De Beers silver tint. I'm going to take you around and show you the back one because it's where the magic happens. So I have a panel van and they do not have full length rear bumpers from the factory. They also do not have bottom corners of panels from the factory. There's a few other things that I've done to modify the rear of the car here. So these bumpers, the shape I got is based on my first car, which was a HR sedan. So in those they have like a trapezoidal bottom tail light, and the bumper curls around and follows the line of the boot, and I actually really liked that. I thought it looked pretty cool. It's a good way to finish off the car. The bumpers were much tighter than they were on EHs, especially on the commercials. So I sort of copied that. This piece is made from, that's like a standard EH center. Welded a couple of extra bits on and welded to the bumperettes. Now I welded a massive bar across the back of this just to give me something to create points to mount to and also make sure everything was sat in the correct alignment. A bit of extra, I suppose. If you look under here, you can see full length roll pan. Ignore the shit sitting around. So that is just, the bottom of these was always full of rust. Factory had like a spare tyre door there. There's no way in hell that the Commodore wheels will fit in one of those stock spare tyre doors, so away she goes. Other things I've done is rounded the corners of these just because I like that look. That's sort of a, you know, some of the custom work they used to do around the corners of the bumpers, around the corners of the bonnet, of the hood if you're American. Just little things like that, just to, you know, like, it looks cool. And I had to pretty much like construct all of this piece because I wanted to hide the hinges. So the old hinges, which would bolt on pretty much about there, and, you know, come up and go through a slot inside there. I actually had a set that was on there that was chromed. It was pretty nice, but you can never really chrome them right, and they always rust out. And I don't really want that look. I wanted them hidden, so I fabricated my own hidden hinges using like a door hinge that used like a front door, just so I could get the axis right, so that when it comes out, it moves away enough that it won't hit on the bumper, anything like that. The straps that hold it together, that hold it up, just like actually made out of old seat belts, so they don't rattle and they hold a significant amount of weight. In the tail lights, I've actually got twin bulbs in the top and the bottom. Now, when I pulled apart the R31 that I pulled apart to give me, well, it gave me the steel for the sides. That's actually the roof of an R31, and I rolled that line into it using a bead roller that I built, or electrified. I didn't build it, I bought the bead roller and then I made it electric using man skills and other assorted skullduggery. And it also supplied like a bunch of, like, it had some really good components in it that I could use for wiring. So one of the things I noticed about it is it had twin bulbs in both sides, and I thought, oh, I might just pinch that idea. Now, cool side effect of this is that my front headlights now are running LED indicators in the bottom, and the little side mirror you can see poking out has got a little LED that chases across the front of it, and it, because I've put twin bulbs in this, it actually has enough resistance that all of it runs at the correct speed instead of You know, sometimes they repeat too fast when you put LEDs in because the resistance is low and the can doesn't like it. So there we go. Bottom of there, doing this. I'm really happy with how this turned out. I think it looks really, really good. I sort of have half-assed plan to pull these off and pop a mould of them so I can make some fiberglass ones one day if I'm keen. Say good day.
Right. What good day?
I don't know, YouTube. Cool, I'm going to go fix this front bumper. So here we are onto the repair. I have a couple of different blocks that I'll use for sanding, like wet sanding and stuff, just to get small components down. So this one's a purchase, that one's a purchase, and I modified that by sticking a little bit of a spline onto the back of it. It just gives you a hard surface so that when you're sanding, it'll knock off, like it'll denib for you, so it'll take off takes out all of the peel and just makes sure that your finish is good. And this little bad boy here is one that I made. So it is just the standard block size. It's 3mm acrylic with a adhesive, like a polyurethane foam rubber thingy. Now all of that is purchased from your local hardware store. So this stuff just comes in a sheet like 500 by 500 to stick down, and this stuff comes in a huge sheet, and I'm lucky my young bloke wanted to use it to make clear covers for his ant farms that he makes. So I shout outs to Tommy Ants 57. There you go, mate. So I pinched a couple of pieces to use, and it's really good because it's flexible. So you see there, it'll bend, so it'll follow a bit of a curve, and keep your high points. You'll pick up your high points and sand off those, so it brings everything down to a nice smooth. It's really, really good for getting a really nice flat finish on your wet rub. I know. Oh, great. I know Melomotive sells a acrylic block for final sanding, and you can use Melomotive splines, which is the things that I use to modify that one. You can use them to sand off, but this just a bit easier to grab, a bit easier to wrap a wet rub around to use it. Yeah, so that works good. Pretty cheap if you were to buy it, like buy a sheet of acrylic, I think, and buy a rubber thingo. You could make a full set of blocks the same size as all of the Dura blocks, and you'd probably come out of it with about similar price, I'd reckon, but you could make way more than one set, so you get a few mates together and make them. I'm actually got a plan to make a couple of these, one of these, and a couple of different lengths and sizes to accommodate different sheet sizes for a mate of mine who's I'm doing work on his build with him. It's an FC. So yeah, Arthur, if you're reading this, this is what I was talking about. If you're watching this, this is what I was talking about making you. So we'll build you a couple of them. Alright, I'm going to go sand this, and then I'll show you guys how it looks. So you can see here, there's some nibs in the paint. This is because I don't have a booth or anything, so I just spray it in a garage and shit, and then just sand the shit out of it. So I'm just going to do some block work on here, just do some rubs, and I'll see if I can get up close and show you guys exactly how terrible it is. No, that's not going to work. Okay, so as I've been sanding, I've found some pretty nasty little ridges. Don't know if we can see them in the video. Just next to the seam. So there's one just here, just there, and down the bottom here. And that'll just be where I haven't applied the filler correctly with the spline. The spline's grabbed something or put a little ridge in, but that's okay. That's why you do use the spline both ways. I just wanted to show you this bit here. As you can see how using a hard surface block can really pick up on lows that you wouldn't see. Like this is microns, this stuff. That's peel in the clear. It's straight off the gun by me, so it's not great, not great with no peel, but still, that's like You can see that's how a hard block will pick that up, whereas a soft block won't. It'll actually drop into the ridges of peel and sit on the highs of the peel and not give you a smooth surface. Now I've actually decided, after looking at this, doing that little bit there, that I'm going to have to do some filler work on. It's not much, we're talking, you know, thumbnail scratches, but still, I'll do it. There's actually a couple other bits. Something's dragged across the bar over this side. Right, there. Makes it look a bit shit, so I'll probably touch that up, and I'm thinking I'll probably might block the whole bar back in 800 and just give it another shot of silver, another shot of clear. I've got enough to do it. And with the hard block, if I'm sanding, we'll look from the top down here. So where the transition is from the front piece to the side piece, so on a standard bar there'd be a join there with bolts through it and maybe a bumper overrider covering it. So on this there is not. So when you use a hard block, you actually keep that edge hard. So that's actually like a hard transition. It doesn't roll from one to the other like under here. It's a hard line that you could see. When it's cleared, you can actually see it. Well, the thickness of the clear sort of destroys it, but just here, you can see that hard line in the, just here. See how it flops from one to the other across a hard line, hardish line. So that's the effect I'm looking for, to actually show a distinction between one bit of the bar and the next. So when you're standing back, you understand that the bar makes a proper corner there, and it's not like it's not a big round hoop. Although a big round hoop could be cool. Nah, next project will have big round hoops. This one can keep the bends as they are. So I'm going to stop. I think I've got enough daylight to mix a bit of filler and plug that hole, but I might just leave it because I want to go over the whole bar and just find any little problems and see if I need to put any filler in them. And just do that. So that's it. Custom front bars.